Hello and welcome to the X News. I am Namra with the latest breaking news from Chernobyl, Ukraine. An accident has occurred at the Chernobyl atomic power plant. There has been an explosion at the Unit 4 of the nuclear station in the early hours of April 26th at 1:23 a.m. The reactor exploded, releasing radioactive debris into the atmosphere. A second explosion followed a few seconds later. These explosions caused a fire at the reactor that would take more than a week to contain. We have learned so far that the reactor has been completely destroyed. The roof and upper walls of the reactor has gone. We have report from Chernobyl that 2 workers were reported killed as a result of the explosions. It is not immediately clear what effect the radioactive cloud would have on the population of Kiev, which is the south of the reactor. Let's hear from Stephanie, who is reporting live from the scene. Stephanie, over to you. Please tell us what's going on at this hour.
Hi Numra, this is Stephanie Costello reporting live here from Kiryat, where we have just heard that there has been an explosion at the number 4 reactor at the Chernobyl power plant, nuclear power plant. It's been severe and devastating. People are now just began to evacuate the city. It looks like it's desolate. People have been told to leave their things behind and grab the things that are most important. Hopefully they get to return. Here on ground at Chernobyl, there are cleanup crews. They're trying to clean up the mess to prevent it from spreading, as there are isotopes and nuclear radiation is spreading, and it can be toxic, it can be deadly. We've already had deaths, casualties of employees who are trying to stop this from spreading. They've been exposed and taken to local hospitals. Their clothing has been taken to the basement to be destroyed. Just yesterday, the city of Kiryat, which is the city that was created for the Chernobyl plant employees. We have malls, we have schools, they have all things that you would need, but now has been evacuated right after the May Day parade. The Soviet government did not want to have the community run in panic, so they were not aware of what was going on. So here I am with the detector to detect radiation. As you can see, everything has been left alone. It looks like an empty city around here. Everyone fleeing for their lives. And hopefully they get to return once all this is completed. A suicide squad is working underground, trying to do the cleanup. Every 90 seconds, they come in and they have to run back out. This is crucial in order to prevent it from spreading and causing further damage. The contamination in the air that travels for miles. It can cause cancer, hair loss, leukemia, intellectual issues. It can cause. However, the first responders who have responded to this explosion have become ill. They've had severe radiation sickness. At this point, it is hard to tell how many lives will be affected by it, as the isotopes and the contamination travels for miles in the air. People are being affected who are in the area. As you can hear a plane. They're dropping off water to try to simmer down the fire in the reactor. Locals believe that they will be able to return. You can only hope and pray that are able to return to the place that they call home and not be lost in the world or in a land that they feel that is not theirs. Could this have been prevented? Possibly. Have they taught their employees how to properly use the equipment and how to run it, as it ran for a long period of time in a low energy level, which in this case has caused a catastrophe for the whole world. So we ask, and I have to be quick here with this segment as I am not allowed to be standing here for a long period of time. So Numra, yes, there's been an explosion and it is not safe for miles for people to breathe in this air or be around the contamination of this nuclear radiation. So I send it to you, Numra. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. It is a very terrible news as citizens of Pripyat were not informed in time about the explosions and how people will be affected by this in coming days. I now have Dr. Imran Rashid from Pakistan. He is a well-known physicist. Dr. Rashid, thank you for joining us today. As you know that there has been an explosion in Soviet Union, Soviet nuclear power plant in Chernobyl, Ukraine. Please tell us what you know about the radiation is being spread out after the explosion and how it can affect our lives as people were not prepared for this.
Namra, thank you for having me today. Yes, it is a terrible news. Obviously, it was an accident. But the accidents are meant to happen when sometimes negligence is involved. It could have severe consequences of the actions are being involved in doing this. I strongly urge the government of Soviet Union to come clean with this. I'm not sure of today exactly what caused the accident to happen, but what I can tell you is what radiation is and what it does to human body as it is being exposed to radiation. This is especially if the government is taking too long to inform its citizens. Let's talk about radiation. What is radiation? Radiation is energy that comes from the source and travels through the space at the speed of light. This energy has an electric field and magnetic field associated with it and has wave-like properties. You can also call radiation electromagnetic waves. When we talk about electromagnetic wave, we talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. There is a wide range of electromagnetic radiation in nature. Visible light is one example. Radiation with the highest energy includes forms like ultraviolet radiation, X-rays, and gamma rays. X-rays and gamma rays have so much energy that when they interact with atoms, they can remove electrons and cause the atom to become ionized. The radioactive atoms have unstable blends of protons and neutrons. The ionizing radiation is the energy that comes out of radioactive atom. Now, how does this affect the health? Well, this is the critical issue in determining health consequences. It is helpful to put radiation dose in perspective. We receive low doses of radiation from our natural environment. However, we know that radiation at the high doses can be lethal. We know the radiation can cause cancer, and we also know the radiation can be harmful to the fetus at the various stages of pregnancy. Now, how does it affect your body? Like with many other contaminations, our DNA is the primary target. Radiation can interact with DNA directly and cause damage by breaking bonds in the DNA or indirectly by breaking water molecules surrounding the DNA. When these water molecules are broken, they produce free radicals, unstable oxygen molecules that can damage cells and organs. Once the cell is damaged, three things happen. It can repair itself, the cell would then go back to normal. It can be altered, meaning risk of cancer or death, which means risk of organ failure. It all depends on the amount of radiation a person has been exposed to. Now, as we know that people have already been exposed to radiation because the government response was late, It is possible that these people have severe health issues in coming days, weeks, or months.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid. As Dr. Rashid has stated, it is important that the government of Pripyat would inform its people as soon as it had happened. After telling residents nothing about the disaster for some 36 hours, Soviet officials finally began evacuating roughly 115,000 people from Pripyat as well as nearby towns and villages. Residents are informed it will be temporary and that they would pack only their important documents and belongings plus some food. Soon after, however, an exclusion zone is set up around Chernobyl that prevents their return. There are a total of 1,225 buses, 250 trucks are waiting to take people outside of the city. We have news that the first responders are the ones that are affected the most. Because the citizens were not informed in time, the first firefighters arrive at the scene. They have no knowledge of the radiation and wear no protective clothing. People are still not aware of the impact it will cause on their lives in the long run. There are about 28 first responders taken to a hospital in Ukraine for further treatments. We know that their injuries are severe and they may not make the full recovery. Local Soviet officials convene an emergency meeting in which they decide to block cars from exiting and entering Pripyat, the city that was built to house Chernobyl workers. Police officers assisting with the roadblock likewise have no knowledge of the radiation and wear no protective clothing. We know that all fires have been extinguished except for the blaze in the reactor core, which may burn for days. Helicopters begin dumping sand, clay, boron, lead, and dolomite into the burning core in an attempt to slow radioactive emissions. Thank you.